welcome back to the Citizens Fancast. As always, I am your host, Evan, and today got hopefully a good episode here. I wanted to do this yesterday, but I was unable to just because had an issue here, but just issue in our house here, and but it's all good now. Everyone's safe, and we're all good. So. Unfortunately, though, wasn't able to record, so I'll be doing this a day late. Still, nothing on the whole live stream episodes yet. My plan is to get that done some point this summer and just move forward with that and kind of make that be the norm on Monday nights. But until then, episodes releasing Tuesday morning, obviously, except for this one, which will be coming out on a Wednesday. So I appreciate you guys for listening to this one. But before I get into this, I was on the most recent episode of the Snobby Boys podcast. So shout out to them and a thank you to them for having me on and allowing me to go sit with them for almost 3 hours. So it was a great episode, and we probably could have sat there for another 3 talking. So super cool of them to allow me to be on there, and go give them a listen, follow them. Great content every week. They got a big month coming up with some special guests, but guests that are a lot better than me. So go give them a follow, go give them a listen, and then it's a good time to follow city content creators. So anyone creating city content, go follow them. We're all in this together, working together. So that's the most important part. Move forward together, not backwards separately. So that being said, no match to review, no match to preview. We are officially into the off season. So obviously I wasn't able to record last week. I had some other things come up as well. But as far as off season episodes, I'm hoping to basically do one every single week between the stories, which the stories seem like they're flying in faster than they are during the season right now, just with a bunch of things going on that I will get into. But beyond that, I plan to just keep rolling out episodes and up until the preseason, which I will be attending, and I'll talk about that a little more later. But as far as today, just talking over some rumors, contracts, and things like that. A few other notes. Euros haven't started yet, but I'll give updates on those once we fully get into those and get rolling on those. But beyond that, as far as transfer news, players coming in, players leaving, rumors that I find reliable, interesting, we'll roll through all that. But I want to wrap up this episode. It probably won't be too long on the other stuff. I don't want to spend a ton of time on just rumors of players leaving, and that's kind of the whole thing of covering the Euros and things like that throughout the episodes. I don't want to spend 30 45 minutes just talking city rumors, but I wanted to go through kind of my ratings for players for the year and give some awards that I feel were deserving to our players. Just a list of awards I made up. You can agree with me, you can disagree with me. That's why we're all here to just have an open discussion. So that being said, diving right in. So first news, kind of last week, it's kind of died down this week. It sounds like we might could be shaking up at the keeper position. Hopefully not. Rumors of Ederson leaving to one of the Saudi clubs. Hopefully that doesn't happen. If you're a long-time listener, new listener, whatever, long-time listener, I'm a big fan of Ederson. So I'm hoping that we get to see him stay. I'm hoping it's just his agent trying to get some extra money or something. I think he's one of the few players in our squad that's absolutely irreplaceable, and that's not a knock at anybody else. It's just I don't see many keepers out there in the world of football that can truly replicate what he does. So hopefully he's staying. I'd love to see him sign that extension and be with us for, 5-8 years, as many years as he has left, retire as a City player. like I said, I think he's one of those irreplaceable players. And, being a keeper, he's got a ton of time left to be able to continue to play and just contribute. He's not going to slow down as much as the skill players that are on the ball and taking injury hits to muscles and things like that. Obviously, he had his spells here and there where things happened, but beyond that, uh, he's stayed fairly healthy. So, hoping that he stays. Transitioning into just a few players who have been rumored to come to City. Paqueta looks like he is going to be charged for betting. This is old news. It's just something that I had listed here to cover last week when I had to cancel, so I left it on here. As long as those betting allegations are looming over him, and it looks like he may be getting a ban, potentially a lifetime ban. I don't see him. City's not going to get into that. Obviously, a lifetime ban, he's not going to be able to play for anybody. But I think as long as those charges are looming and just sitting out there, there's no chance of City getting him unless the charge is clear. And I don't really see that happening anytime in the near future. So not a player we can really wait and sit around for. In today's market, you can't just sit around for a certain player and expect to, maybe eventually we'll get him. And it's just, you can't do that in today's football climate. So personally, not too heartbroken. I didn't necessarily see where he fit in for us. And it's not a knock at him. He's a great player. It's just between Nunez and Foden, De Bruyne, Bernardo, Kovacic, and Rodri, Rico Lewis when he slots into the middle. Where was he going to play? And it's, we've got, it feels like we have enough midfield depth for the most part. Could see some leave. Obviously, there's the rumors of Bernardo. Looks like PSG might have backed out of that. But I don't want to fully dive into all these topics. I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself from what I said on Snobby Boys. So if you want to hear the full transfer talk on my opinions on Bernardo Silva, it doesn't feel right to repeat it here. It's the exact same thing I said there. So go give them a listen. Listen to what my thoughts there. But the short version is basically, if PSG have backed out, where else is there to go besides City? He's got a family now. He's comfortable in Manchester, so I think we see Bernardo Silva stay, in all honesty. But I said we have the midfield depth. It looks like we may be in for Bruno Guimaraes. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Probably not. Bruno G from Newcastle. Just 100 million release clause. For me, it feels high. Feels like, for someone who may not get consistent starting time, it feels like a high mark to pay. I don't know if we necessarily want to go out and pay that kind of money for a player who may not be starting, may just be a backup to Rodri and a rotation player. It seems high. Maybe we have a plan for the future to integrate him more as well, but beyond that, it seems high. I think he's a great player. He's an excellent player. Just ability to win the ball back and kind of just be that box-to-box player. He's a great player. He's an excellent player. It's just, for me, the price tag feels a little high just for the role that he would be playing. Now, Rodri goes down or something like that, then it's a different conversation, but you can't bank on something like that. And I know we want as much depth as possible going into next year, where it looks like we could be playing 70-plus games with just the change up to the Champions League and the Club World Cup. It kind of feels like, we need as much squad depth as possible. Obviously, we had our times throughout this year with De Bruyne and Haaland both out for extended periods of time. So you want to have the players there that can step up and really just be that player that can step in and fill that role. But beyond that, I'm not sure what we'll bring in. I think For me, I feel like if we're gonna bring any players in, maybe a right back, just with the uncertainty of Kyle Walker, whether he's staying, whether he's going. We don't know. He said he's staying. Things could change. He is the captain now, so maybe he feels, he's got that role kind of locked in. Obviously, we've seen Akanji play out there. Stones can play out there as well. Not sure if we want to bank everything on a right back, on a center back playing right back, or not. Uh, we'll see. I don't think we're really in a position where we need to sell a ton of players and bring in a ton of players. I know if you go on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, it's Twitter. But if you go on there, it's everyone freaking out that Madrid signed Mbappe, and we need to counter that and bring someone in. There's nobody out there in world football who we can bring in to equate to Mbappe. We've got our Mbappe in Holland, 100%. And we've got the players here. Things go right. We show up for that United FA final and give it our all and not what we saw, and get through penalties against Madrid, and we could have been on for two trebles back to back, which is unprecedented. So for people to be freaking out and completely losing their heads over the fact that we need to bring players in, I don't see it happening. We've got a good squad. I know I said that, like, you want as much depth as possible, but I feel like we have the depth. We've got 20 good players, 20 good solid players at least, who can come in and do their job and just be those players who are going to, deliver day in and day out. And I kind of see it as, you look at players like Stones and Grealish, who had a quote-unquote off year, and just whether or not they can continue to perform for our club in the ways that we saw, for example, last year. And I look at Grealish had his issues. He had some injury issues at times. He had some personal things going on at times as well. Stones feels like he got back from an injury and would be back out within 2 matches. A little worrisome that neither of them got time towards the end of the year, in all honesty. But I think it was more of, you ride the players who are performing for you. And that's why, they weren't getting a ton of time. I fully expect them to be back and motivated to contribute next year. It's kind of the whole conversation again of where would they go? What, if they're willing to put the time in, put the effort in, and be the players that can contribute, and the players that we know that they are, why would they feel the need to go somewhere else, is kind of my thoughts. So in my opinion, I don't see a ton of movement, in all honesty. I don't think we need it either. We're a great club. Like I said, we don't need to match the Mbappe signing. We just got Haaland last year. That's, in my opinion, them matching us. I know they got Bellingham, and they won Champions League and signed Mbappe. Great. And maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but it didn't work at PSG with Mbappe and Neymar and Messi. So how can we guarantee that it's going to work here? Obviously, yes, they're Madrid and they seem scary, and yes, they are, and they knocked us out, and I fully understand that. But at the same time, you've got all these skilled players. There's only one ball. You can't, they aren't all going to just, they're not going to just all kill you off at the same time. Each of them are one individual player. They got a lot of pace. I'll give them that. They already had pace this year. Obviously, adding Mbappe, they have a ton more. But they got some big players leaving. And I think a lot of Madrid with their success and their Champions League, for lack of a better word, dominance over the last 10 years has really come down to poor officiating, first of all, but it comes down to a bunch of players that know how to win and know how to do just enough to move on. Look how they played against us. They sat back and, we had them on the ropes for 110 minutes, just sitting back and absorbing pressure. So if they're going to play like that, the contributions of an Mbappe and a Vinicius are subdued greatly. So you still need the players there to defend and things like that to be able to stop. And, if they would have played against us the way they played against Dortmund, we would have probably put 6 past them, 100%. And it shows their vulnerability. They were truthfully outplayed in that match against Dortmund, and they found a way. And that's what they do. They find a way. So, but as more players leave and, that legacy of these players knowing how to win and knowing how to just get the job done, I feel like as tides turn, it changes. And it is what it is. We'll see. I don't think we need to preemptively, go and sign. That's just it. Who do you sign to match? Who do you sign that can come into our squad immediately and contribute? The only player for me in the entire world who can do that, and there's still a matter of where do they fit in the lineup, is Jamal Musiala. And the only way he fits in is if De Bruyne leaves. And I'll talk about that now. There are the rumors of him leaving. I'm sure we'll see the official numbers on the contracts or just the money he's being offered from Saudi. And with everything De Bruyne has done for us, I don't want him to leave, but he's earned the right to do what he feels best for his future and for his family. It's generational wealth that you really can't deny. It's not, oh, here's some money I'm going to pass down to my kids and my grandkids. It expands 2 to 3 generations beyond that. That's how much money they're willing to offer to bring players like that over there. Now, it's hard to say no to that. These players are still human. I understand that, even if they call this home or whatever, but I mean, say you like your job and some other job comes along and offers you to do the same thing for 10x the money. You're taking it. Like you're taking it. It's a no-brainer. So I don't know why some people feel the need to, or don't understand necessarily that at the same time, like, footballers are still human. They still go through these same human emotions. It's hard to look at that amount and that many zeros and say, nah, I'm good. It's a hard decision. So I hope De Bruyne stays. I would love to see him stay to get the record for assists. I know he's 50 away. In my opinion, it takes him at least 3 seasons. I'd love to see it. Will we? I don't know. I do not know. I think there were some signs of him slowing down this year, and it's not even slowing down in just ability, just slowing down fitness-wise. And I think the injuries catch up with him, and it's just, he's getting older. So can we get a full 90 minutes out of Kevin De Bruyne? I don't know. I don't know if we can. On a consistent basis, I don't have that answer. My instincts and from what I've seen, I lean towards no. But that doesn't mean he can't give us 75, 60 of some of the best and most creative football we've ever seen. And, that level is still there. So that's where I'm torn on it. Foden stepped up this year when we absolutely needed him to. And I think we're kind of at the point where it's been passed off to him. The torch has been handed off to him. This is his team. He's leading it now in sorts. Like, he is that guy. He stepped up and he is that guy for us. So it'll be interesting to see how the future goes. But you know, unless an Ederson or a De Bruyne leave, I don't really see us needing to bring in this huge, massive signing to really, you know, steal all the headlines, because there's, and even with Ederson, who else is there out there that can provide what he provides to us? There isn't anybody. So, even, we could break the transfer fee on a keeper, and that doesn't mean they're going to give us what Ederson gave us. So, a lot up in the air. I hope we see De Bruyne extend. I lean towards that he'll stay at least one more year, but we'll see. We will fully see. Next topic, just on the rumors and contracts that I said I wasn't going to talk forever about, and we're pushing 20 minutes here. Just some of the younger guys. It looks like James McAtee might be on his way out. Unfortunate. I wish he would have stayed. I wish he would have been the guy that could have stepped up for us. And it's no discredit to him. He's had great years the past couple of years. It's just I don't think he's fully developed into the player we wanted him to be. I think you look at players like Foden and Palmer, even Lewis, Bob, they seem there. They seem, if the level wasn't quite there, they seemed right near it. And McAtee just seems just a step below that right now. I wish he would have stayed. I really like him as a player, but sometimes things just don't work out. So I'd love to see him still stay. Maybe he can prove something in the preseason tour and absolutely just take over a match or something and give a reason for him to stay. So we'll see. All signs point to him leaving, but at the end of the day, nothing's official until it's official. So in other news, there was some potential rumors of Rico Lewis and Oscar Bob going out on loans. I think the time is there for them this year. I think they have the ability to step up. I think they're the players that can contribute. Bob, in a sense, won us a title with that Newcastle goal. Rico Lewis has given us incredible minutes, and I'd love for both of them to stay. I'd love for both of them to be able to contribute on a higher level, get some more minutes, and I think you'll see, honestly, quite a bit more rotation in the squad if we are playing this many minutes. These players are playing this many minutes, so you're going to see the players like Lewis and Bob getting those minutes, and I'd love to see them commit and be players that play for us for a very long time. So obviously they're good young players who deserve a chance, and if they feel their future is better off elsewhere where they can get a consistent starting role, best of luck. And we'll make sure that if that's what they want, that's what they get. That's what our club has shown. If you don't want to stay, feel free to go. And I'm not insulting them. The minutes weren't there for Cole Palmer, for example, and look at the year he had. So it's the player's decision in my mind to whether or not they truly want to stay, or if they want to stay and fight for the position, or if the club will loan them, go out on a loan for a year, try to develop more with more minutes, or if that's not it, maybe they do look for a permanent move. But I think there's minutes there. I think there's time there for both of them, and I don't see a reason that they need to leave. So that's the end of my transfer news. Went way longer than I wanted it to, but moving on into just some other news. Company was officially announced as the Bayern manager. So best case scenario for him. He went down to the championship, and now he's at the biggest club in Germany and a top 5 club in the world. So I wish him the best. I hope he does well. I hope he doesn't steal any players from us, and we'll see. I think with Pep having a say in the decision of him going there, I think it's a grooming process to get him back to City at some point. Pep mentioned that he's going to eventually be the City manager at some point in his life, and that's my dream come true. I want him to come here and be our manager for 20 plus years and win us a ton of trophies and a ton of titles. So all the best to him. Hopefully he takes the developmental steps that he needs to be able to come to City. And the way we're playing, we are a better club than Bayern Munich. We are a bigger club than Bayern Munich at this time. Throughout history, maybe not, but that's the way the lay of the land right now. We are a bigger club. We're the bigger stepping stone from Bayern Munich. So he goes there. I think he needs at least 2 years there. So we'll see what that means with Pep, whether we bring someone in between or whatever. I don't know what the club's plans are. I don't know what Pep's plans are. It's something that we'll see. But last thing I had on just some other news before I get into my end of year ratings for players. Our next matches are the U.S. Tour. So looking forward to meeting people there, seeing other City podcasts in person. But I'll be at 3 of the 4 matches, all of them but New York. So I will be in Chapel Hill for the first one against Celtic, I believe. Yes. And then the next match is the one in New York, which I will not be attending. But then I will be at the Orlando match against Barcelona, and then the final match in Columbus against Chelsea, and driving the entire way. So that's going to be about 40 hours of driving for me. And I just get to be a regular old City groupie, just following them around the country. So it'll be fun. 2 weeks off, just traveling around and watching the club I love. So it'll be a good time. Like I said, looking forward to meeting people. If you see me, come say hi or don't. It's your choice. It doesn't matter. But that's where I'll be. So if you want to come say hi, feel free. I don't bite. And yeah, that's all I got on that. So with that being said, let's get into the player ratings for the season. And I wanted to do these. I didn't know if I should do these in position order, in rating order. I ended on number order. So first player, Kyle Walker. Ratings out of 10 for the season. I went with a 7 for Kyle Walker. And this may seem a little high for some people, but I think for me, he wasn't as bad as people made him out to be. I know he had a lot of off-field stuff. I know he's continued to have some off-field stuff and just needs to learn to shut his mouth at times. But he is our captain. He was voted as captain by his teammates. And I saw glimpses of the Kyle Walker we know and love, with his speed and cutting players off and things like that. But part of what put him at a 7 is going forward, playing balls in. I felt like he was better than he's ever been, which is weird. But I think he did decent enough to be a 7. There was time for improvement, laziness in transition, laziness getting back and things like that. But with all being said, I think 7 out of 10 is a fair rating for him. So moving on, Ruben Diaz, I went with a 7 out of 10 for him as well. I think this was his worst season at City, and partially because his standard is so high, he just didn't meet his standard. I don't think he was quite our best defender. I think there was a lot of mistakes that he made that costed us at times. It happens. It's football. Players make mistakes. It is what it is. But for me, 7 out of 10. If he was at his normal level, 9.5 or 5, because that's just how good he is. So this is solely on the fact that he just wasn't at his normal level, and that's just unfortunate. So Calvin Phillips is next. I'm going to just leave it as a 5. I think he's moving on from our club permanently this summer, if there is a buyer. Otherwise, we'll see him loaned out again. He didn't perform the way we wanted him to. So all the best to him. He seems like a great guy, and that's it. 5 based on he was here for half the year, and that's it. So all the best to him. I'm not going to insult him. So 5 for Calvin Phillips. John Stones next. I went with a 7 on that one as well. With his injuries and whatnot, I think it was hard to judge him lower than a 7. I I could have put him at a 6.5 potentially, but I don't think he didn't play poorly when he did play. And I give him a 7 just based on, he didn't get a lot of minutes. And I know that's not his fault. You can't control injuries. And he ran into the ground with England at times. So that's, again, not in his control. But beyond that, it's hard to judge him any higher just because we didn't see him a super high amount. So 7 out of 10. And yeah, that's it for him. Nathan Ake, 8.5. I think he had probably one of our most underrated seasons for a player this year. And I think that's just because from the 2021 to the 2022 season, from that season to the 2022-2023 season, he made such a big jump that it was impossible to not notice it. And then he was just as solid this year. I don't think we saw as much improvement, but he did still improve. And I think it's just he made such a big jump last year that it was hard for people to accurately judge and see everything that he did to really contribute. He was one of our most solid guys when he was healthy. And I think there's a little bit of recency bias that people kind of forget what he was doing for us and how great he was playing for us, out of position at times, playing on the left. And I think when Guardiola came in and then Ake had his injury issues here and there towards the end of the year, it's people forget how much he was actually contributing and helping us. But for me, 8.5 out of 10. Next up, Mateo Kovacic. I again go 8.5. I feel like he was another underrated player for us in the way of he really did a lot from the start. And I've given him his praise the entire year. I think we robbed Chelsea on really the fee that we ended up paying for him. I think we could have ended up paying a lot more than we did. And I think he was an incredible signing. He was looked at to be that Gundogan replacement. And he was never coming into this squad to be that guy, to get us those goals and put himself in those attacking positions. He was more holding than anything. But he did that incredibly. We saw him a lot of times hanging out by the defense, and that's not a knock on him at all. It's just he knew where to be in the right position to get the ball from the defenders to the midfielders to the wingers up and really just start our attack. And in matches where we couldn't move the ball forward up past that midfield line or get that midfield line going, he allowed us to do that. Moving the ball at his feet, making the right pass, things like that. I think he did a great job. Erling Haaland, what can I say? Leading goal scorer in the league again. A 9 out of 10. I know, again, people freaked out because he did terrible apparently, but our League 2 striker that again led the league in goals, where he missed how many matches? So led the league in goals, and an off year for him. An off year by his standards, and that's it. Because an off year for him is still better than an incredible year for some players. So I look for him to contribute a little bit more. There's a reason that the term sophomore slump exists. It's his second year. I predicted this from the start. His stats were not going to be as good this year as last year. Plain and simple. Next year, I think they have the potential to be even better than the first year. Refocus. He doesn't have Euros this summer. He gets to spend his summer with City. He gets a longer break probably than the rest of the players. Rest up, stay fit, and come back in the preseason and just dominate. Just be a force and absolutely dominate. So I look for him to be back to his normal self next year and just be that goal scoring monster that we saw in that first season again. So I look forward to that. Jack Grealish up next, 7 out of 10 for him as well. Off year for Grealish, I kind of mentioned it before, so I'm not going to really say too much more on what I said earlier. A 7 out of 10. Again, it wasn't the full treble contribution, and he did have his injury issues. You know, as soon as he kind of got back into his full rhythm, out again with an injury. So in and out of the squad that much, it's hard to keep a rhythm and stay consistent. Jeremy Doku, 7.5. The sky is the limit for him. His feet are so fast. His dribbling ability is absolutely incredible. He plays a little out of control at times, and I think that's the issue. I think he's got to work a little bit on his finishing. It's right there. It's right there. He's so close to being able to really lock in on his finishing. I expect him to make that leap next year, spend some more time with De Bruyne this summer, and really get the coaching that he needs and the mentorship that he needs from De Bruyne. I know they're entirely different, but De Bruyne is he's a player manager basically at this point. He knows how to lead. He knows how to lead by example and things like that. So, you know, get a little more control in his dribbling, figure out his crossing a little bit more, and work on that finishing a little bit, and he is going to be one of the top 5 wingers in the world, and that might be a low mark. I'm almost willing to say top 3. So the sky is the limit. It's just honing in on those things a little bit, and he's right there. Rodri. Where do we go with Rodri? 10 out of 10. Unbeaten streak the entire year up until the FA final. We couldn't win without him for the longest time, and that's it. You know, he was incredible. Our rock, our best player, stepping up in big moments when we needed him, being that guy the whole year. Went over a full year without being beaten, and I think in a way it's kind of nice to have that win streak gone and out of the way, that there's not that pressure of, ooh, is it going to end or whatever. Just go out, play your game and move on. So 10 out of 10 for Rodri. De Bruyne, 9 out of 10, came in and chance creations left and right, goals, assists, everything right from the get-go. 9 out of 10. And the only reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because we didn't get a full year out of him. So he came back. He was normal De Bruyne. I think, like I said earlier, we did see some signs of him slowing down a bit. But for the most part, he was absolutely incredible. So 9 out of 10 for Kevin De Bruyne. Stefan Ortega, I went with an 8 out of 10. I know he didn't get a ton of time. He got a little more extended time with just Ederson's injuries and injury issues. He won us that match at Spurs, making that save on Son, and that's what bumped him up to an 8. He's a great keeper. I didn't see him necessarily do anything super over the top, minus that Spurs save, to really stand out and put him higher than that. So 8 out of 10 for me, and it's not an insult to him. It's just, again, on the comparison to Ederson, it's hard. It's very difficult. So 8 out of 10 for Stefan Ortega. Julian Alvarez, 8.5 out of 10. And I feel like that's almost low. He carried us through the entire first half of the year. With Haaland being out and De Bruyne out, he was the first one to step up, first one to really just, win us matches. And fans turned on him towards the end of the year. I'm not sure why. He was still performing at an incredibly high level. I mean, he's played an incredibly high amount of games in the past 18 months. He's doing the Olympics this summer. He's not going to get a break, basically, for almost 2 to 3 years of football. So hopefully that doesn't backfire and lead to any injuries. I know there's some rumors of him potentially leaving. I don't see it happening. I think he's happy with City, and I think he's happy with his role, in all honesty. He's he's an underrated player that is able to really step up and contributed to us for the entire first half of the year when we really needed it. So 8.5. Bernardo Silva, also an 8.5. I think he again had an underrated season. He's the workhorse of the team. He never stops moving, never stops running, always knows how to position himself, how to make the right runs, how to do everything he needs to do, put himself in the right positions, and that's what he did this year. He won us the FA Cup semifinal against Chelsea. I know people are upset over the Madrid penalty. I said it from the beginning. I don't hold anything against him on that, so I go 8.5. He kind of just... He's a guy that does his job without you knowing that he's doing his job, but if he doesn't do his job, you would definitely know about it. So that's why 8.5 for me. Sergio Gomez didn't get a ton of time. He was okay in spurts. I think he's going to be leaving towards the end of the year. I go a 5 for him, and I don't have a ton to say on him in all honesty. He just really didn't get a ton of time. So 5 for me. And Guardiola, what a player Guardiola is. A young Croatian. Just, again, the sky is the limit on him. An 8 is the rating I went with. I think he's got so much potential. He stepped up and won us matches at the end of the year. He was a bit inconsistent at the beginning of the year. Didn't really seem to know his role fully. But the way he ended the year, it's hard to put him anything lower than an 8. So I think, again, moving forward, I don't know if he's going to continue at that left back spot. I love him there. I'd like to see him continue there. I think if he doesn't, we may need to address that and bring in a left back. But between him and Ake, I think they have it covered. Just need them to stay healthy. So a 8 for Guardiola. Akanji, next up on the list, 9 out of 10. Our best defender. Again, if you listen to this often, you know how much I love Akanji. He's one of my favorite players on the squad. Incredible. A 9 out of 10. Our best defender. He makes mistakes. Yes, like I said, all defenders do. His mistakes are noticeable. they definitely are. When he makes a mistake, you definitely notice it. But beyond that, I think, he's a great player. He's a solid player. And he was our most consistent defender throughout the season. So credit to him. And I look for him to keep that level of consistency moving forward. So 9 out of 10 for me. Mateus Nunes, 6.5. Feels a little low, yes, but he looked a little lost at times playing, and I think he had these flashes of brilliance where he showed the level he can reach. I don't think he was ever going to come in and be Bernardo Silva or De Bruyne. That was never going to happen. I think he was brought in as a player to do the job when he needed to, and for the most part, he did that. Now, he needs to work, I think, a little bit on his chemistry with the squad, just kind of figuring out players' movement, where he needs to be, the runs he needs to make. At times, he's spot on and has it nailed down, but there's other times where it just feels like, what are you doing? Where are you going with this? He likes to back himself in a corner, I feel like, at times, and not really have a direction or an outlet to go with the ball. So 6.5. Ederson, a 9 out of 10. Our keeper, our number one at number 31, he's incredible. Ball at his feet and the poise. His shot stopping has improved greatly since last year, and I credit that partially to Ortega coming in all honesty. So a little credit to Ortega, but Ederson has shown that he wants to continue to work on himself, work on his craft, and just be one of the best keepers in the world. And in my opinion, he is. He's the best one in the world. So an incredible keeper, a 9 out of 10. I didn't put him any higher because I don't feel like I saw anything absolutely exceptional out of him. But at a 9 out of 10, I didn't really see him step a foot wrong at the same time. So 9 out of 10 for Ederson. Scott Carson, 10 out of 10 just for being Scott Carson. Phil Foden, our player of the year, 10 out of 10. our breakout year for him, incredible. We knew it was coming. I hoped it was this year. I don't know if I predicted it at the beginning of the year. I know I thought it. I don't know if I actually said it. If someone's got the clip, find it for me, please, because I looked for it and I couldn't. But he is just incredible. He's England's best talent, and I think the Euros just go through him. So hopefully he can bring that trophy back for them and get himself some credit for that. So incredible year, goal scoring when we needed it, assists when we needed it, just stepping up and being that guy. And I think, like I said earlier, this team is now his. He is that guy. Oscar Bob, 7.5 out of 10, and he did great and was incredible when he played. I just didn't see a ton of him. So, again, it's no fault of his own, and I'll even group Rico Lewis in this because I have the same rating for him, and they're the last two. It's no fault of their own, but just the lack of being able to see what they are, seeing them on the pitch. It's hard to be able to give them a higher rating than that. But they both did incredible when they played. Like I said, Oscar Bob won us a match and probably ended up winning us the title. So with that being said, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I have been going for 45 minutes. I have some end of season awards, but I think I'll save that for the next episode because, like I said, the transfer stuff isn't going to be full topics every single week. So I'll save my end of season awards for next week's episode. And beyond that, that's all I got for you guys this week. So, like I said, just what a year. I didn't say this, but what a year. It's just, reflecting back on this year, a successful year, 4 in a row at the end of the year. That's all I wanted. I wanted 4 in a row. I know it'd be great to win Champions League again and win another treble, but it's so hard to do that. Back-to-back trebles is almost impossible. And, 2023 was amazing, and 2024 was just as great in its own right. We made history 4 in a row. So, thank you guys for listening. You know where to find me, Citizens Fancast on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I'm forgetting something. YouTube, sorry. Like and subscribe on YouTube. These videos are back on there. And like I said, eventually these will be live streamed. Just a matter of figuring that out and figuring out which kind of program I want to go through. But follow me on everywhere. And merch is available. I have title merch. The links are in my Instagram and Twitter bio. I don't have the full website. Again, once I get full streaming here and everything like that, I'll have all those links for you and everything like that. But the link is in my bio on Twitter and Instagram. You can find it there. I got some Citizens Fancast merch and some history merch for 4 in a row. But beyond that, you can listen to the podcast on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and Google. And that's all. So keep enjoying the off season. The rumors are flying, and yeah, that is what a season. But like I said, I got some more stuff that I will get into for next week with some end of season awards. But we'll leave it off just this week with those player ratings. So you guys enjoy your week, and thank you for listening, even though this was a day late.